Absolutely.
That's why I've always told you I don't get too hyped. I don't get too low when it comes to who makes spectacular catches, who's pile driving somebody off a ball. Because in this case, in the modern era of football as we know it now, they're not really going full. I mean, they are off the snap, but they're letting up. There's no pass. Players don't want to get hurt. Players trying to earn that money, earn their bonuses in their clauses, their contract clauses as well. Nobody's out there trying to get hurt.
What's up, everybody? Welcome on back. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Appreciate all of you hanging with us. Hit that like button. Let's get that rolling, folks. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis with you on this Monday. All right, guys, so let's turn our sights to the Eagles. Practice again today. So we thought initially it would be a full pads day. It was not. It was a shell day today. Tomorrow will be full pads, but they will not be tackling to the ground for the entirety of training camp. Which we can get into all that, in a second. I'll just give you initial thoughts from everything I've read from today who had people who had, boots on the ground. Apparently Jordan Davis had himself a day today, and was, moved around a little bit on the nose, but wherever he was making really athletic plays for a gigantic human being, which, hey, by the way, he says his weight is right where the Eagles wanted him. They wanted him between 330 and 340. He's absolutely there, he said. But look, I mean, anytime your first round pick is showing out a little bit, I know it's only shells and all that, but it's a good sign, man. He's looking good. He's looking agile. You muted there.
As he should be. He's not in any pads, so when you can move around like that. Now, when the pads come on, he's still doing it, and which I still think he can do it. Mm-hmm. Then we'll really see. But when you don't have any pads on, it's tough to really get a sense on what's going on in that line, line play. I hear a lot of people, and I was just texting back and forth with Coach Marcus, and he's like, man, I'm so tired of these training camp updates as far as passing, completions, and all that stuff, and who's winning the day. When I watch film, and when I watch practice, I can't get a sense on what's going on really until you put pads on. Now, I'll say this. It's easier for the specialist guys, the receivers and, tight ends and cornerbacks and linebackers to go through and do 7-on-7 and things like that. It's easier to get a sense on where the quarterback's progression is with the defense as far as how they're going to run things. You can get a beat on that, but you can't get a beat up on front, because when I see up front, I see guys getting blocked. I see guys that are making plays. You know what I'm saying? So when they say, all right, the offense is doing this, and the offense had a great day, and the defense had a bad day, or the defense had a bad day, offense had a great day. If you put things in perspective and really look at it, it takes the offense about 2.5 weeks to catch up with the defense. It's just easier to play defense than it is play offense. You could freestyle on defense, but you can't freestyle on offense. Offense is such a beast that you have to make sure you have 11 guys playing in concert. There can't be one person that doesn't do their job or the whole play looks like it doesn't work. And when I'm looking at practice, I'm seeing things that are working. I'm seeing route combinations that are working. But you might have one player or one guy, and it looks like, the quarterback threw a bad pass, or he got, intercepted. Yeah, that's all relative to, what's going on out there. And that's just guys playing two-hand touch. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Actually,
so,
I see.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Barry. Finish your point. Sorry.
No, what you say?
I was just going to say, so the reaction, I know Friday when we were on Friday and you were there that day, and you said basically like, Hurts didn't look nearly as bad as people are making this out to be.
Not even close.
The same reports came out from Saturday as well, and basically over the weekend, and more sort of general stuff. But so same thing Saturday, your impressions?
Same thing Saturday, okay. Although the interceptions were bad interceptions.
Okay.
He threw it too late, but he had a guy in his face. they brought a blitz that the offense couldn't pick up. He wanted to get it out of his hands, you know. So yeah, you can't throw that errant pass, and he's got to learn from that. It's got to be a learned experience from him. But when I watch the offensive line play and the defensive line play, well, I'm kind of worried then with the defensive line, because when I'm watching run plays, I'm seeing things open up. I'm seeing the offensive line putting a hat on a hat, drive blocking guys, opening the holes. The schemes are running to perfection. I mean, the running backs are untouched until they get to the second level. So if there's anything, if I'm gonna be, kind of look at it sideways, like, oh, I see a problem, is probably run stopping for the defense.
Really?
They're looking quick, they're looking fast, but they're also looking small. You know what I'm saying? And those big guys up front are moving them around. I'm seeing running backs hitting the second level before they're getting touched. And so you just gotta watch what you see, and don't necessarily take everything that these guys are saying as law. Come on, man.
Right.
It's not a perfect system. We understand that there's no perfect players. We understand that also, but it's not as bad as what people are saying.
Haven't I been saying that for years?
That's
why I've always told you, I don't get too hyped. I don't get too low when it comes to who makes spectacular catches, who's pal driving somebody off a ball, because in this case, in the modern era of football as we know it now, they're not really going full. I mean, the yards off the snap, but they're letting up. There's no pass. Players don't want to get hurt. Players trying to earn that money, earn their bonuses in their clauses, their contract clauses as well. Nobody's out there trying to get hurt. Now, you're going to have injuries. It's just some things you can't avoid. You're going to have an ankle somewhere. You're going to have a hamstring. You might, God forbid, you're going to have an Achilles somewhere. It's just the nature of the beast. When you have 22 bodies out there going in 22 different directions, it's just the nature of the beast. But I don't get too caught up, like when Barrett was talking about their offensive line driving the defensive line off the ball. Okay. Then all of a sudden it's control. And after a certain point, both sides are letting up, Yep. So it's not like you're going full tilt, 20 yards down the field. When the receiver makes a spectacular catch, a DB gets an interception, a lot of times the DB knows where the play is. The wide receiver making a spectacular catch in a lot of cases is not being challenged to the nth degree like you would in a regular season game with guys fighting for jobs, fighting to not be put on somebody's highlight reel. So the whole complexion of the game in general changes once you kick off that season for real. Now, obviously, from a coaching perspective, especially with the limited amount of reps, preseason games, and in most cases, teams are getting away from tackling to the ground, which I think is wrong, because tackling in the NFL today is atrocious in a lot of ways, especially when it comes to the secondary. It just drives me nuts when I see DBs and even linebackers trying to grab a big man up around the shoulders. You are always taught to hit lower. Put your helmet or your shoulder in his waist or his chest. And all you see is these guys trying to grab people by the shoulders, even wide receivers. These wide receivers are much bigger, much stronger nowadays. Running backs, much bigger, much stronger. You grab a man by the shoulder who's got full speed, and you're trying to grab him from an angle, you're automatically giving him an extra 2 to 5, 6 yards. And in some cases, he's going to shake that tackle because your momentum's going this way. His is going this way, and all he has to do is shake his shoulder pads. You fall off. He could take it to the house. So the fact that they don't tackle anymore in training camp, it drives me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, look, guys, they better start well. They better start well, and they better stay healthy, or else there's going to be hell to pay. I mean, they come out and they look really sloppy in that Detroit game. People are going to go off if they're not tackling properly, if there's, false starts, if there's, pick plays they're getting called for like they did a ton last year. Nick Sirianni's going to hear it, man. I mean, Howie, Nick, everybody who's involved in this decision-making is going to hear it for sure. Barry, let me ask you though, what can you take away in the really early goings of this? Is there anything that analytically that you say to yourself, all right, I don't like this could translate, or is it just way too early for that?
No, all this stuff can translate. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm picking them apart as far as you don't get a real sense of what's going on. You're still getting a lot done.
Okay.
What I do see is this is, 100% better than what I saw last year at this point. I mean, they're
collectively, you're saying collectively.
Yes, collective. They're more advanced now than they were. I mean, you really didn't know what the hell was going on last year. Now you see there's a sense of purpose. Everything is done with a purpose. See, I had some reservation about, all right, how can they practice for 58 minutes? How can they practice for an hour and 30 minutes? Like Saturday was 90 minutes. Practice was 90 minutes. On Friday was
minute 15, I think.
Minute 15, yeah. An hour 15.
Minute 15 would be really quick.
But the amount of execution they were able to go out there and do was tremendous, man. Everybody's running around. Everybody's moving with purpose. The practice is like this, and the reason it's so short because they're executing very, very well. They know where they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to be there. They're not mean. It was a lot of times last year they had to stop, get guys lined up in formation. Guys know exactly where they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to run routes. It wasn't a lot of teaching on the field because they didn't make a lot of mistakes on the field to really all right, you should have been 5 feet out farther, or you should have been a foot inside more, or you didn't line up here, you didn't line up there. All that stuff was, more advanced than I've ever seen them. They were right where they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to do it, and you could tell that they were bringing the young guys along with them. They were lined up where they're. That's half the battle. Knowing where to go and what to do when you get there is half the battle.
Yeah,
they knew exactly what they're supposed to do. So to me, they're much more advanced than they were last year. So practice, I'm not worried about practice anymore because they get so much done in a small amount of time that I was shocked. I was very surprised on how much they were able to accomplish.
I will say that's what they keep saying. Like anytime this is brought up, Sirianni, the assistants, the players will tell you, don't necessarily look at the numbers of how long this is. Look at what we're doing. There's very little wasted time. This is a filet mignon. There's not a lot of fat on it, and there's not a lot of wasted time. And
that's a great analogy right there, bro. That was amazing right there. Yes. Yeah. Filet mignon.
I'm copywriting that, Barry. I'll have my filet shirt tomorrow. But and they also tell you these walkthroughs are no joke. Like everybody just assumes the walkthrough is, guys, go deep, whatever, half paying attention. Like these are, from what they're saying, pretty high intensity level. We don't have, there's no media access to those. So
there was a sprint. We did the same thing. And they're sprint throughs. They're not really walkthrough. When they say a walkthrough, they're still blocking. They're still following with their footwork. They're still following route combinations. They're
Technique.
Still covering.
Yeah.
But what they could do in these, in these walkthroughs is like, hey, coach, hold on. Now watch this. Now you see the receiver cut it off at 12. I thought he was going to go 15. No, that's why I did this. How can I combat this? Do this. They're talking like that while they're in these walkthroughs. So the players are getting a lot out of it because they can ask questions. They can see what's going on. Coaches can stop things and coach it from that vantage point. So when they do line it up and get in practice, they're more efficient at it because they walked through it before. Those are all things, that's going to help this team out. Just watching how the DBs are reacting with the receivers. Man, iron sharpens iron. Mm-hmm. They are going at it. But at the end of the play, good, bad, or indifferent, they're helping each other up. They're talking to each other about what this guy saw, what that guy saw. They are getting better as a team. So I'm more confident now than I was even before, after the draft. I'm confident now because I see the results of it out there on the field. I see it, and it's easier for me to feel more comfortable about them going into this season. Now, they still need reps, because there's things that you can't simulate by the way they're practicing right now. And one of those things is offensive linemen taking that 1 or 2 or 3 extra steps to finish a block. Finishing a block. How do you learn how to finish a block? You learn how to finish a block by finishing the block, by driving a guy into the ground. Once you hit the contact, now when they hit the contact, they kind of slow down a little bit because they don't want to hurt each other. Mm-hmm. But how do you get used to hitting contact and then driving through and finishing the play? That's a whole different feeling from what they're doing right now. So I don't want them to get into the game and start hitting and think the block is over with. When you hit somebody, that's when it all begins. Mm-hmm. Once you get there, that's when the action happens. You know what I'm saying? That's when you start making, things happen. And you got to practice through that. Just like DBs stopping wide receivers. You know what I'm saying? Going through the tackle, executing, knocking a ball down, stripping, all that type of stuff. Quarterbacks going through progression. A guy pulls up, and you got the offensive line falling in your face, and you're just trying to follow through. You can't follow through because, those are all things you learn during game competition. They're not getting that right now. So how do you how do you simulate that without doing it? You can't do it.
Well, at least the good thing is when you talk about the offensive line drive blocking and then all of a sudden letting up, too soon, is the fact that most of these guys that will be counted on this season, outside of Jurgens, they understand what is expected of them under, Stoutland, because they've played for him at least a year. So they understand.
Right.
So it's not like this has to be driven into their heads. Once that green light goes on and the engines start revving and you're out of the gate come, kickoff of the season, at least these guys know, especially the Pro Bowlers that are in the trenches and the guys who are the regulars, the Dickersons, the Malatas, Lane Johnson, Kelsey, they all know this is what Stoutland expects of us. That you will automatically see Kelsey running 18 yards down the field after that initial block to try to take out a second level guy from Miles Sanders, whoever's running the football.
Interesting. Yeah. And by the way, I see you guys in the chat section with the cup. You guys are crazy. Like Fitness Rebel has me drinking whiskey out of this thing. Yeah, we got over-unders on sips. You guys are nuts, man. I love it, but you guys are freaking crazy. So, Barrett, a couple things. I just wanted to throw this to all you guys today. Dick Vermeil was on hand today. Jeffrey Lurie was on hand today. Grant Calcaterra, the late-round tight end draft pick, is bothered by a hamstring. They don't think it's anything major, so he was sitting out today. But, yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we're at. I take it for what it's worth. Minshew's having a really tough camp so far, according to people. How real is that? I don't know. But, yeah,
be careful how you word that. You never know.
I know. Yeah.
Right. The wolves will start out there. They'll smell the blood.
They do.
The social media wolves.
That they do.
They come out of hiding.
I know, man. All right. So go ahead. Go ahead, back. Finish off.
I just love the fact that that I hate to say it like this, but fake news. The fake news we have in our city, man, is unbelievable.
Well, it just shows you, like, can you imagine you're at a Sixers training camp and, Embiid misses the 2 out of 3 threes that he takes, and it's like, Embiid's not shooting well, man. Like, what's this going to mean for the season? Yeah, it's like it just shows you the obsession with the Eagles, with football in general. And it goes back to some of the stuff we were talking about in the last segment, but we are so... I mean, we're going to find ways to glean really meaningful stuff out of these preseason games. I guarantee you, even though there's no starters playing. Like it's just the way it is now, man. It's crazy right now.
I can't wait to break down
Eagles Jets.
Coyote Wusaka.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So we'll step aside. We'll come back. Brian Westbrook. Don't go anywhere. We'll continue with the Eagles discussion. Brian's new excursion that he's got going on with his children's book, which I hear is unbelievable. We'll do that. Little Phillies later, little NFL discussion, including your favorite wide receiver QB combo in the NFL. We will do that as well. So don't move. We got you, man, on this beautiful Monday. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, I want to tell you about Pro Action Restoration. Pro Action Restoration, you're saying to yourself, all right, what is Pro Action? Well, here's what they do. Here's the service that they provide. If you have a home, you have a business or a property that you own, and you've experienced water, fire, smoke, mold remediation, God forbid if it hasn't happened and it does happen, you want to be ready as well. They're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I called them on a Saturday. They were over there promptly, cleaned up what was a major mess. They were clean, they were professional, and the price was reasonable. Trust me, there are a lot of other businesses out there that aren't on the same level as Pro Action, all right? And they are licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. So it could be water, could be fire, could be smoke, could be mold remediation, could be something else if you're not really sure. Give them a call. They can handle it. 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760. Or you could reach out online at proactionrestoration.com, proactionrestoration.com.